Hi, this is Denise Crosby from Pet Cemetery, and you're listening to the Timo and Harley Show.
Welcome to the Timo and Harley Show.
Thank you for listening to the Timo and Harley Show. I am Timo. Over there is my partner in mind crime, Mr. Ben Harley. Say hello, Harley.
What is happening, people?
Ben Hammerhead Harley.
Yeah, it's me. Oh, them hammerheads. Let me tell you.
It's like a shark reference in there for you.
Yeah. Yeah, them hammerheads. So. Boy, what a bunch of jerks. Yeah.
Yes. So, again, yes, hello and welcome all you deep thinkers. All of our audience. Our audience is 106% deep thinkers.
Deep.
Yep.
Deep thinkers, my friend.
Officially. So, some other deep thinkers that are in my region, Mr. Ben Harley, right now are people from Kansas City because their football team just won the Super Bowl in the space.
Oh, they sure did, didn't they?
Yes, they did. They had well, plus the Chiefs are in my region, and Kansas City was always like when I played music full time, Kansas City was a bit of our second home. We recorded a record there, lived there for a couple weeks, or recording and stuff. So I got a little soft spot for KC, Kansas City. So congratulations.
Yeah, as I say, you were pretty close there too.
Not too far. Yeah,
not too far.
Honestly, Indianapolis is probably a little closer than Kansas City even.
For you, okay.
A little bit, but they're pretty similar. As how far. So I think it just has something to do with more. I identify more with Missouri since I'm right across the river than I do with Indiana.
Sure. Yeah, most definitely. But congratulations for those guys and their fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see.
Especially their fans.
Yes. Well, the long-suffering fans, Mr. Ben Harley, 50 years.
Yes, sir.
Since the last Super Bowl. I think they were was Super Bowl 4? I think they were. They were. That's the
Before
old
the Super Bowl.
Well, that's the old matriculate down the field. That was Hank Stram. That was. I think.
Oh yeah.
I think Super Bowl 3 was when the Jets won. That was one where there was a guarantee. And and the AFC was not supposed to be able to win anything, basically. And then they proved they could. And I do believe it was the absolute next year where they won again. And that was the Chiefs.
Wow.
So, but congrats. I do like seeing the picture from Super Bowl 4 of Len Dawson, the quarterback, at halftime smoking a cigarette and drinking a soda. Sitting in a chair, So, but so congrats, and let's see. Moving forward, Mr. Ben Harley. Let's see this as you're listening to this weekend, February 15th, 2020. I said 20, not 2000. 2020. We Ultraman is going to be shutting her down. We're shutting down FUBAR. We're going to be playing. That's right. Going to be the last FUBAR show before FUBAR transforms. FUBAR is going to quickly cocoon and emerge as a butterfly named Red Flag.
Yeah, and twice its size.
Yeah, pretty much, if not more. Yes, and
it's like Mothra.
Exactly. Yeah, I've been looking for the two little gals to be singing, but I haven't found them yet. But yes, it will be. The Red Flag is just literally like right next door. If you're facing FUBAR, it's to the left. It's all right in the next corner block. There would be Red Flag. So we're shutting her down, and they're just kind of scooting over to the side, basically. So, but
moving on up like the Jeffersons.
Yes, but had a lot of shows at FUBAR, lots of good times there and stuff. So that'll be fun to shut her down. Be a good time. That's what punk rockers do. We shut her down, right?
That's what you shut her down. Right. Tear it down or shut it down.
That's right. Let's see. Let's get to
it gets shut down.
Right. Let's get to some things to watch this week, Mr. Ben Harley. Let's see. Got a little bit of cross-section stuff here from 2015. I said 2000. Dang it. Okay, from 2015.
20-15.
Yes. Watched the Guillermo del Toro film Crimson Peak.
Okay.
I just hadn't seen it since it came out. I don't remember liking it then, but for some reason I'm like, let's give this one a shot. Since it's sitting in my movie collection and I've kind of forgotten about it. And I know why. I know why I'd forgotten about it because I'm trying to forget about it again. to be honest with you. Not my kind of movie, Mr. Ben Harley. It's just kind of a modern gothic, which I don't like. I don't like modern gothic films. I just don't.
No, I
like them from the 60s
I get that
on
feeling.
back. Yeah, well, from the 60s on back, I like them, but for some reason, I do not like the modern ones. It's got Tom Hiddleston in it, the guy that plays Loki, and he's pretty good.
I like Loki. Yeah, he is good.
Yeah, but it's just it's boring to me. This is
okay.
Just not my thing. So
sure.
But I just wanted to mention we did go back and watch it. From 2014. Watched a movie
20-14.
Watched a movie called The Dying of the Light. Okay. This is a documentary about projectionists.
Oh, really?
Yes. Part of it, they do talk about the Michigan Theater in Detroit. They are there talking. I think the last time they projected a movie was 79 or something like that. But
wow,
it's the history of theater projectionists. And look, it's something that's very close to my heart. I mean, we're talking about the meats and potatoes here of film presentation and stuff like that. But it was very interesting documentary, and I got a little emotional watching it. And I do this about stuff I really care about. I'm not a real emotional guy to begin with.
There's not much of that.
No. So, but I did enjoy. I did enjoy watching it. So it's on Amazon Prime. It's called The Dying of the Light. Kind of a neat little documentary. I know we both like documentaries.
Oh yeah.
Let's see here, Mr. Ben Harley. Speaking of documentaries, also on Amazon, watched a movie called Patient 17.
Patient 17.
I don't talk about this stuff very often, but this is a documentary that deals with alien abductions and like implants and stuff. Now, I just am not super interested in it like I am with the Bigfoot thing. I think it's much easier to wrap your head around. I'm not saying one makes more sense than the other. Believe me, I'm not. I mean, the universe. We've been in space, Mr. Ben Harley. As a matter of fact, we've ruled it for a while. It's a big place, and lots of things can happen we're not aware of. So
right. Even Timon Harley can't keep up with all that space.
That's a lot of space out there.
Yeah.
So it's not that I don't. It's not that I'm like. It's just I've been more interested in the Bigfoot thing. But this is pretty interesting because they kind of follow a gentleman who is Patient 17. And he is a 6'9" bike riding big burly guy.
Okay.
And he's got this little thing in his knee. It's been bothering him.
Okay.
And they can't figure out what it is. It could be anything from a meteorite to like maybe a ricocheted piece of a toy that went into his knee. They don't know. Like when he was a child. Like when he was a child. It's been there since he was a kid.
Okay.
And he wants to get it out because it causes him problems, pains, and stuff like that. Now, when you're 6'9", you're going to have knee problems to begin with. But
it's hard to lumber around. Jeez, man.
Harley's like, you could be like closer to 5'10" and have knee problems.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just the way that's presented. It sounds like it seems like a guy who's the kind of skeptic maybe that I am, a friendly one. Who wanted to really, and who wanted to know what this thing is, but who's open-minded to the answers. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, he was open-minded if it was nothing. He was open. But the interesting thing is the guy that wanted it out of his knee, he wanted it out of his knee. He didn't necessarily, like, he had abduction experiences.
Okay.
But he's also very Christian and stuff. And he's one of those people that feels like if he figures out there's aliens and messes with his Christian faith. I don't understand that very much. Like, I don't get where one can't lead you the other. I don't understand that very much. But anyway, he's one of those people that it would bother his faith. So he doesn't even want it to be anything. He just wants it out. So he goes to that crusty old doctor guy that takes implants out of people. I don't know if you've ever seen the guy in documentaries or stuff like that, but there's a doctor who basically pulls that shit out, and he's willing to have it tested and stuff. He's found some crazy things he's pulled out of people. You know, when you think about it, a little micro meteorite could hit you and go into your leg or something, and it would feel like a bug bite.
Yeah.
You know, you wouldn't know. Yeah. So there's a lot of different answers to this.
I think I got a tracker on me, Tim. I don't know.
Do you? Okay.
I might.
Well, so that all wrapped up for an interesting documentary because it was people who weren't homering for what they wanted it to be. They really, the guy didn't want it to be anything but a piece of a toy or something that got lodged into it. And the guy that was doing the documentary was just really fascinated. by all this stuff. So I enjoyed it, and they were fair about it. They went and had it tested, and they had some people saying this is a smoking gun. Aha. But they went to some other people who said, no, it's not.
It's not, yeah.
So it's very interesting. It was very interesting, yeah. And
what were they thinking it was, though?
Well, the problem is that what they had it analyzed. They pulled it out of them. They had it analyzed. Okay. And it was like 30 different like metals combined. And a real complex metal that we make here on Earth has like maybe 4 things, like different elements put together. So basically the makeup of it was, if it was engineered, it was something beyond what we could do. So that's what the people who said it was a smoking gun said. I think the other people are just saying they needed to test it more, which is always the answer. When you don't have an answer, that's the answer. Well, we need to test it more.
Yeah.
And my whole thing is, well, you want to keep testing it until you find an answer that suits your worldview.
Bingo. That's a pretty good analogy there, buddy. Yeah. I mean, and it's true, and it's kind of hard. Well, no, let's not go down that road too.
Well,
we'll be there for an hour.
And I don't know the answers to all this stuff, but I am open-minded to it. It just doesn't interest me as much as Bigfoot for some reason. So that's why we talk more about Bigfoot, which we will be talking about a little bit. But let's move on, Mr. Ben Harley. Move on a little bit here.
The big man himself, yes.
Let's see here. From 1,961. I'm making fun of myself because I'm getting myself out of the 2015 thing. I got to say 2015.
It's hard. Yeah.
It is. It's from the stupid movie 2001. And from people saying 2000, we didn't turn the calendar didn't turn over to 20. It turned over to 2000. So it's hard for an old fellow like me to. Anyway,
it's hard because like when I think back, like the Roaring 20s, you know what? We're living out in some kind of 20s. I'm like, what happened to my life, man?
Right.
What? It just really.
I think it's because we're really into the century.
Yeah.
And that really, like the 20th century is really far away. And I think that's hard for us because we are products of the 20th century. Yeah, and if you listen to the show, it's really clear that we're products of the 20th century. From 1,961. I watched the William Castle movie, Mr. Sardonicus.
Okay.
Yes.
Back to your comfort zone. Close.
Right. With Guy Rolfe in it. I like this movie. It's a good, creepy old movie about ghouls, basically, grave robbers and stuff like that. Yeah. And Mr. Sardonicus gets into, I won't tell the whole story, but gets into a grave to the point where he turns his face into like the Joker in a way, a real gross version of like a skeleton laugh or whatever. So really cool old movie, man. I like that movie. I really like Mr. Sardonicus. So it was fun to go back. Fun to go back and watch. I could probably send it to you. If we haven't reviewed it, we should sometime. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good for that.
Let's see here. Moving forward. From 2019.
Okay.
Watched another documentary called Survival of the Film Freaks. So what do you think that movie's about? It's a documentary about people like me.
Yeah.
It is. It's a documentary about
I want to punch people.
It's a movie about cult films and people like me who really like collect and enjoy stuff.
Yeah.
So yes, for me it was a fun documentary to watch because I was basically seeing myself. And the other thing too is that there's people in these documentaries that I watch. I'm like, that guy talked to us either at our table or when I was helping DVD Bob. But like, I know that guy from somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, I've seen enough special features and documentaries where I may be just getting to know them from those. As well. They're like the Jeff Meldrum of horror documentaries to me.
So you're going to be like, you're going to be one of those guys here soon.
Maybe. I'd be proud to be one of those guys.
That's right.
Let's see here.
You should be.
Well, thank you. So let's see. Moving forward, Mr. Ben Harley.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of cult films and whatnot, from 1977, watch the Italiano Giallo movie, Autopsy. Starring
Autopsy.
Mimsy Farmer.
Nipsey Russell.
Mimsy Farmer. So, well, it's weird. It's Italian. It's Giallo.
Just go with it.
It's weird. It's a weird one. All I know is that the movie starts off where they're showing the corona of the sun and then people committing suicide. It's like, all right, here we go. Strap her in. Here we go. Yeah. Weird. Not my It's one of those things when you read what happens in the movie, you're like, oh my goodness, I got to see this. And then you see it and you're like, well, technically, yes, that's what happened. But I don't like exactly how I saw it. So no, I'm not. I'm not a big fan of autopsy. So,
okay.
And last up here, Mr. Ben Harley, I know every week we've been talking about Expedition Bigfoot. Expedition Bigfoot's over. We had our big final, what I thought to be diatribe on it last week. However, and again, I am not going to bust out this individual, okay? Because an individual pointed me in the direction of some information. Some information regarding Expedition Bigfoot. A lot of this is about where they shot it at. Okay, they weren't up in the... They weren't up, like, far away from civilization. They were basically at a tourist ranch. Now, I'm okay with that because they didn't necessarily... I mean, it was one of those, okay, like, if you take it verbatim, they really never said they weren't.
Sure.
They just said they were up in the mountains and they're going to be for 2 weeks and they're going to stay around. But the main guy, the guy that talks to Meldrum and talks to Bob Gimlin and stuff, he's clearly in this very nice cottage, like a 2-story cabin of some sort, like much nicer than we stayed at in Salt Fork, with really good Wi-Fi, where he's got 3 computers set up and he's like video chatting with multiple people and stuff. You know, he's got Wi-Fi I don't have. He's got internet I don't have out here where I live, and I'm not as rural as they were, regardless of this, but.
Sure.
There is some things about it. First of all, the mines they found were not dangerous mines. They were gold mines. And people easily walk through them.
Sure. Okay.
And therefore, when they sent the little drone through there and it came out with human hair, well, as I was bitching about last week, how did it get there? You're there. That's how it got there. Backtrack from home to where you're at right now. That's how the hair got there. Well, and I'm also thinking, you're looking down at the drone. Your hair falls off your fucking head. You know, it's like, stop this stuff right now. You know, so there's a lot of it was misleading.
Sure.
What I saw confirmed my my problems with the show.
Yeah.
My irritability with the show and how it's put off, how it came off. You know, they're getting altitude sickness, or somebody gets a flu and it's Bigfoot. And everything was Bigfoot related. It's literally like, I'm serious, the place you can go online and find a tourist video, like a commercial for the place they were at.
Oh, really?
And it shows the mines and it shows people walking into it. This was all staged and set up.
Sure. Yeah.
And I hate saying that, but I'm going to stop short of saying that the people in the show were in on it, but they definitely were helping film it. They were definitely helping film it as a show. They were I promise you they did things over. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I promise you they set up lights and did like conversations that they knew they were going to have. I promise you this stuff was going on. It doesn't happen otherwise.
Oh, yeah. No,
I mean, we did the same thing with stalking Bigfoot.
What?
Yes.
You take that back.
Well, it is. I mean, it's kind of close to, we never claimed that to be real.
Exactly. No.
We claimed it to be a satire of that stuff. Yeah. Not even a parody.
Exactly what it was.
Yes.
No, it was a mixture of documentary with a little comedy thrown in. You know what I mean? And
right.
We can't tell you how it ends because it's still open-ended.
And we did have weird stuff happen out there a little bit.
Yeah,
but at the same time, we didn't have the cameras on. It was when we were kind of hanging out. And it's nothing that we would definitively say that was something.
I'm not saying it,
It's the kind of stuff that people hear, that I hear out here all the time. But it is it's cool to hear. It's always cool to hear weird shit and wonder what it is and spook yourself out. Just don't get on a television program and proclaim to America that you know what it was. It's just a creepy sound, man.
Yeah.
You know, but I think I'm more disappointed in how I was led to believe it was something. I'm a little more disappointed just the community at large.
Sure.
I think.
Sure.
And I'm not really picking on anybody individual. I like these people, and this isn't a personal thing. I'm disappointed that that maybe I didn't gravitate toward this as much as some other people, and maybe I'm not on the same. I'm not on the same page. I don't think with a lot of Bigfoot people, I think that's hard for me because I want to be on the same page, but I'm not. I'm just not.
No.
And maybe like we said, we need our own experiences. But
yeah. Well, the thing is, you're. It's to the point, and a lot of it has to do with these shows too. A lot of this evidence is just, to me, it's not evidence. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now, and you and I have talked a lot about these tree structures and things like that. I'm going to think about 2% of what they find might actually be a Bigfoot structure. Mm-hmm. And that's a nest. And that's the only ones that really interest me. They do. Those things interest me. But who knows who put it out there? Could be the old mad trapper.
That could be a bear. I still think that I do think, as much as I complain about the people who, like I think I was talking last week when you're talking to an eyewitness, I think it's insulting to say, "You sure it wasn't a bear?"
Yeah,
I think I fucking know what a bear looks like. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of get that kind of thing. On the other hand, I don't really know what a bear looks like hibernating. I've never walked up to one and poked it with a stick. I don't think it's a good idea.
You better not.
I don't think it's a real good idea because I might be something that it would look up and say, if I swallow that motherfucker, I might be able to sleep for another week.
There you go.
Like, I'm not saying I know. Yeah. I'm kind of, how do you know? Kind of thing. It's like, and again, I don't have any problem with people looking at that, being curious and investigating what it is. I don't. I really don't. I think sometimes I am not set up to watch a program where they're going through and finding stuff like that and say, well, it could be a Bigfoot. I'm set up for me and you to walk through the woods and look at that and say, well, that's weird. That could be something. And see it, and then start getting very nervous that there might be a bear and his cub around. I think I'm a little more in tune with that kind of thing. I'm having a hard time with this, Harley. I mean, I'm starting to have a hard time with the whole subject, and here's the problem I'm having, and this is what I want. I want the researchers maybe to hear this part of it because I care about you and I care about me. I like the subject. I really do have a soft spot for it. There are some anomalies in this that I don't think are easily explained by a guy in a suit and stuff like that. But you people are really turning me off, like making me think that this is bullshit. Yeah. I mean, they're pushing me in the direction, and I want them to hear me say that because as much as everybody's having fun with their newfound celebrity and television programs that all these researchers are getting and stuff, you're kind of leaving a guy like me or a guy like Harley out to the wolves, man. I mean, you really are, because we're not idiots.
And it's hard to...
And we know filmmaking, and we're not idiots.
Yeah. And I can't back up most anything that ever occurred, like on Finding Bigfoot. I can't go, man, you got to go and watch this. People, it doesn't give me, there's not much of a leg to stand on for me either to show people, we got to check this out. You know what I mean? And it stinks. Now, I searched around and tried to find my own thing and have for a little while now. But yeah, you're right. But they're really hanging us out to dry a little bit.
Right.
And
I don't think they even realize what's happening. And here's the thing: I think that
it's going down the road of the paranormal thing, but you know what I mean.
I agree. Ghost adventures and stuff like that, where they're just kind of like setting stuff up, make it look like something, or maybe something did happen and they recreate it, but they don't want to tell you they recreated it. So it's kind of like a gray area.
So many shows, and it's all the same premise, and it's the same.
Yes. Well, it's to me, it's kind of like. I'm not sure how savvy a wilderness person, let's say some of these Bigfoot people really are wilderness people, and let's say that they might not be real savvy with media savvy.
Sure.
And they might be savvy people where they look good and the camera likes them, and they're out in the woods and they know how to rappel. They know how to survive out there, and they know how to do this stuff. So it gives you like some kind of comfort that this isn't the first time these people have seen a tree, more than one or two trees on a spot, or something.
Right.
But at the same time, I mean, Harley and I have spent, and I even speak for myself, years and years and years dissecting, studying film, the craft of it, the editing of it, the lighting of it, everything. And when I see these shows, I see a really clumsy, fucking quickly put together, set up shots that are so obvious to me, but the disingenuous part is that it's not obvious to everybody.
No.
I mean, people think that this stuff's happening like in real time, like it's happening and it's not happening in real time. None of it, hardly, I don't think, is not being set up and shot and stuff. And
it's really gone down the road too, like of the mountain monsters thing, like bad. It's starting to head that way. Yeah. Well, which actually had more fun laughing at that.
I did too. I love that. Remember, I still tease about Shoeless Terry. Stuff like that. The ginseng hunters and the naked guy running through the woods. Remember the naked guy? Like the naked guy. But Harley, this is becoming my question. I used to have a question: is there not a Bigfoot or not? I don't care. I almost care anymore. My question is becoming this: how much are the cast members in on what's going on?
Yeah.
And I'm at a spot where that's the question I'm asking. That's not a real good spot to be in when you're interested in Bigfoot.
No. Mm-mm. No.
But I want these people to understand that's where you've pushed me. Mm-hmm. And if you've pushed me there, could I be the only one?
No, I don't think so. Not dissing you, Timo, but no, I really think it's starting to do that with a lot of people.
Right.
I just do, and it's getting so oversaturated as well. That's, and with not much to.
Well, I think it was oversaturated. I don't think it is as much anymore. I think that really Expedition Bigfoot's the only thing out there that was, and that's good. You know what? I think it's good because here's the thing. Let's say for instance that the researchers are above board and they're actually being fooled. I have a hard time with that, but let's just say that. I think these are smart people. I just don't think they're being fooled. But let's just say that they are. These researchers, their integrity and their reputation does not survive a television program. Mm-mm. It doesn't. Todd Standings. I mean, Finding Bigfoot and now Expedition Bigfoot. I'm going to throw Meldrum almost in there. I mean, Meldrum's pretty good about covering his ass when he's on these shows, but it's guilt by association, man.
Yeah, I saw something the other day about that. Someone was coming down on Meldrum because of Bender Nagel. He's the one that got Bender Nagel with Todd Standings and so this guy was mad about that. And I'm going to leave it out there. I just want people to know that. Well, Bender Nagel's gone, and I'm not sure, so like, but, I'm not a fan of Todd Standings. We've talked about this a little bit. He comes off as a creep to me. I hate to be like that, but he does have some interesting things, but who knows with that guy, man? You just don't know, man. It's just, I don't know.
Like I said, I'm not going to tell. I don't bust people out. I didn't bust anybody out for like the individuals who were telling us to watch Expedition Bigfoot. Because the community is such a weird, it's an ornery community, man. It really is. And they get on each other's butts a lot. So I don't want to be busting people out. And it's not for me to do that. And I'm not even going to tell you who directed me toward the stuff that they were finding out about Expedition Bigfoot. I'm not doing it. You know? But, I was kind of telling that person the same things I'm kind of telling you too, in a way. And I don't think that, I think that the less shows, the better. Because the more shows that are on television, the more hoaxing we have.
Yeah. Like I said, Tim, where I really lost touch with these was the Finding Bigfoot, where they, where they said, we got something on the thermal for not only the whole time before the show came out that season, but the whole season until we finally figured out that it was Cliff on the thermal. Mm-hmm. So you guys sold me a bag of goods and it smelled, and a bag of crap is basically what you sold me. And I just was done. At that point, I was done with the shows, except for, you and I goofing on Mountain Monsters. Now, from that point on, I've really searched and just sought out my own stuff. And then things that you and I have talked about that we found interesting on Amazon Prime or, stuff on YouTube. And for me, that's that's the day that I was done. I was like, because you guys don't even care about us at this point. You know, you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I can't blame Cliff or Bobo or Moneyhead, Moneymaker. I can't, you know, and I can't even blame Renee or whatever, which I'd like to, you know. But
it's hard for me to know who to blame. That's why I said how much of these people in on this.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a real hard time thinking that out of all those seasons that Finding Bigfoot didn't. I mean, you have to be able to watch your own show.
Yep.
That's kind of the problem I have. Like with Expedition Bigfoot, I don't know how much of the show those people actually saw before it aired.
Sure.
You know, but with Finding Bigfoot, they had seasons. So they could go back and watch the stuff before they were filming other stuff. So they could really, maybe in the beginning they couldn't do anything because the stuff was already done, but they had a choice. They had a choice how to play it as they went forward, and it seemed to get goofier and goofier, not the other way. Now, I just look as a piece,
just eyewitness reports or like the town hall things were the only thing that was mildly interesting,
right,
to me anymore.
And my olive branch back to this because I don't want to start fights with people. We're talking about a walking monkey man. All right, we're not talking about death and taxes. Or
the plague or anything.
No, you know, so I don't really want to get to where I'm losing friends over this or even gaining them, really. I don't want it to be like that. I really don't. And my friends that might be listening, I mean, maybe some of the people that we're not busting out that are listening, but know who we're talking about, you know. I don't want them to think this is personal. I still like all these people a lot. They're my friends. It doesn't matter whether or not I agree with their thought process on the giant monkey man. That's just, it's like me caring about who you vote for. I don't care. I don't care.
Sure.
I'll be your friend whether or not me and you do not agree on politics at all. If we agree on what being a good person is, like to each other, being good to each other, that's fine. Okay, fooling me about a monkey man to me doesn't necessarily mean you're not my friend anymore, unless you're aggressively trying to do it to me as an individual. You know, we're all ballyhoo guys. We're all entertainers. We all understand it's all smoke and mirrors on some level, but you have to have some substance there. And when you're out there doing this, and this is what I'm going to say again, these shows to me, okay, are choir things. They're preaching to the choir. They're good for that. So if you've had an experience. And you're thirsting because you had an experience and you don't have anyone to share that with. And then you have the Bigfoot community who you might have, maybe half of them are nuts. But I know that they're not all nuts. These people are not. They're not. No. I don't care. You know, like anybody said, they're not crazy. They did see something. Something did happen. Well, I think
it's life-changing for some of
it is.
people.
It really is. And I think I feel a little bit more bad for the people, for those people. I do. I feel a little bit more bad when I see like a Finding Bigfoot or something. I'm kind of like, I think these people are kind of being used a little bit. The real good stories, the people that have really had the compelling things happen to them. You don't normally see those people on shows.
Yeah.
You do on documentaries when they're asking questions, telling stories. But you don't see them out in the woods going, and beating on trees and shit like that, you know. These trees need to be pissed off at us too. I mean, they're just getting shit knocked out of them left and right, man. Gut shots, you know, it's sucker punches. You know?
Sucker punches.
Didn't see that one coming, you know.
But
anyway, we can move on here again, but that's you know, maybe we'll take a little break from the Bigfoot stuff. Unless this stuff kind of came to me this week. I wasn't even planning on talking about Bigfoot this week. But it just kind of, the expedition thing kind of came. And I'm not saying we shouldn't. I just didn't expect it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where we're at. That's kind of where we're at with it. So let's get to our official film here, Mr. Ben Harley.
Let's do that, buddy.
All right. From 1941, we have the movie.
Wait a second.
King of the Zombies.
Yeah.
All right. So let me get out.
King of a couple zombies.
Well, let me get out. Well, you don't like zombies anyway, so I thought you'd appreciate this.
No.
So let me get out movie guy here and give you a storyline synopsis here for King of the Zombies.
Yeah.
Right, here we go.
Okay.
On a spooky island, 3 stranded travelers find an evil doctor working with foreign spies and in control of zombies. Okay, so again, from 1941, King of Zombies, pretty good storyline. Yet that's pretty much the storyline there. Let's see. We have Dick Purcell as the star. He is James McCarthy. You might know him. He's the guy in the movie who, he gets mentally picked on a lot. He's the guy that gets kind of. He's the guy that they really want to let you know that he is Irish.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, they just make sure you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Now there's some other ethnicities that people make sure you know.
Yeah.
In this movie too. Okay, or whatever. But we'll get to that. So you might know Dick Purcell as Captain America from 1944.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he played the old Captain America serial. He was also Gabby Dugan from the 1936 film King of Hockey.
Oh, really?
There's your hockey reference. Yes.
There's my hockey reference.
Yes.
So he's been in a couple King things.
Yes, exactly. So let's see. He also has Joan Woodbury, who plays pretty much the token woman in the movie.
Yeah.
She plays Barbara Winslow. She was in 10 Commandments. She also played Brenda Starr in the 40s, the character Brenda Starr. Yes. Who was brought back to life, I think, by Brooke Shields in the late 80s. I think she played Brenda Starr. I could be wrong about that. I didn't really look it up, but I'm pretty sure. We also have John Archer as Bill Summers. Now, the funny thing is, John Archer is kind of more of the star of this movie.
Yeah.
A little bit. He was in like Destination Moon. Well, okay. White Heat. That's a good one. Blue Hawaii. And 143 more credits I don't feel like going through right now. So he worked a little bit, yes.
Yeah, he worked a little.
Let's see. We have
a little cash.
Right. As the evil doctor working with foreign spies and in control of zombies, we have Henry Victor. That's
he looked mildly familiar.
Well, he plays Dr. Miklos Sangre. You probably know him as Hercules from Freaks.
From
Freaks, yeah. So he was a big, strong man, a dickhole in Freaks, yeah. You mentioned this, I think, a minute ago, too. He also played Captain Schultz in To Be or Not to Be, the 1942 Carol Lombard and Jack Benny movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so he was Captain Schultz. So, in that one. Now, in this movie, he's kind of playing a Lugosi type of evil character. Actually, it was supposed to be Lugosi. And then when Lugosi couldn't do it, they tried to get Peter Lorre, and then they ended up with Henry Victor. So it is what it is. Yeah. All right. He's in a ton of shit too. You have seen him quite a few times. And of course, we have our old pal, Montan Moreland.
Man, he steals the show. It's basically his movie.
Yes, as Jefferson, as Jeff. Mr. Birmingham Brown from the Charlie Chan flicks himself is in this. Feetstone Family Now type of guy. Yeah, exactly. Now, here's a couple things. It's also directed by Gene Yarbrough. Okay. Who did The Brute Man. We've done that. He did House of Horrors. We've done that.
Yeah.
The Devil Bat. That's one of my favorites. I love me some Devil Bat. He did She-Wolf of London.
Oh, London? Nice. All right.
He did Abbott Costello in the Jack and the Beanstalk version.
Oh, really?
He's got 127 directing credits, so we're going to stop there, too. Yeah. So,
this guy's been around.
Yes. Now, here's a couple things here. Believe it or not, Mr. Ben Harley, believe it or not, this was nominated for an Oscar for Best Music, Best Scoring of a Dramatic Picture. I'm not kidding you.
Okay.
And interesting enough, going back to what you're saying, the Montan Moreland thing. Oh. Definitely. This was definitely his film. And he was, if people don't know who he is, he was an African-American character who was a comedy guy. He had his big eye bugging eyeballs, and stuff. And this is where things get, in 2020, for guys like us, can get uncomfortable speaking freely without feeling like we're going to be misinterpreted.
Yeah.
Or someone's going to find us to be racist or something. I watched these movies from the prism of 1941.
Yeah.
The movie was not made in 2020. This movie should not be made in 2020. No. There are things in this movie that, to me, it's like you go back again and say, we've come a long way.
Yeah.
And I don't want to go back to that spot at all. Like, I don't. But I also don't want to try to censor this movie because I'm afraid it might. What do people think if somebody watches this movie? They go, I think that's a good idea that everybody acts that way toward each other. I really do think that black people should always sleep in the servants' quarters. First of all, not a lot of people had servants' quarters to begin with.
No.
And here's the other thing, too. I just said that they made a big deal about, Dick Purcell being Irish. I mean, they keep talking about it.
Yeah.
And Montan Moreland keeps talking about being black. So any kind of ethnicity in this thing is really like thrown out to the forefront.
Yes,
which is kind of like, it's awkward. It's not even, it's awkward, a little bit.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I think the Irish is really strange, but I don't think we understand the Irish one quite as much. I mean,
no.
Irish, that kind of went away, but there was a lot of racism toward them.
Oh, yeah. Need not apply.
Yeah. Toward them. So we have a very strange, uncomfortable, not
it starts
PC,
right from the beginning.
Non-PC.
I knew it.
Right.
I'm like, oh, here we go.
So anyway, Harley, I'll let you go with this for a little bit.
Oh,
this is the first time you've seen this.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. What'd you think?
No, I don't know. I had kind of a hard time with this one. It's just, for me, it's a real slow. Mm-hmm. Now, Montana Moreland, his performance is actually pretty good. He's. It's it almost reminds me of a little bit like it's a lot of Abbott and Costello, more Lou Costello stuff. There's no real straight man to him, but I mean it's funny. There's and I like that stuff in a way because it adds a little bit. I don't know. It's because I grew up liking, Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein so much that I kind of like that,
horror
a little
comedy.
bit of humor. Yeah. To an extent, you know. But this is a lot of that, I think. A lot. Which that's about the only stuff I really enjoyed about it, man, in a way. Because there are some zombies, but they're voodoo zombies.
Yes.
Which that's what zombies are, really, and so they're kind of spooky-ish, but they're not like craving brains or like trying to tear people apart.
They're under the command of the evil. Yes. That's what zombies used to be. I mean, look at the movie White Zombie with Bela Lugosi in it, where he's commanding an army of his. They're basically brainwashed, brain dead, moving. just automatons, basically. Almost like robots.
Almost like robots, but like it's funny because this movie does have a lot of a premise of what I would like. Stuck on a deserted island, you're not really sure, but it's going to happen, and like,
and that is the movie. They're in a plane and they crash. They end up at somebody's.
It's a soft landing too, nice soft landing, but which looks like it is, but then Montana Moreland gets tossed from the plane. Is laying right next to a gravestone.
They work fast here.
They work faster.
Yeah.
But basically it's just it's an old spooky house or castle, and they're being treated very nice at first, but you still always think something's
it's like a most dangerous game setup. There's people that are stranded in a bizarrely like remote mansion. Wow, like I always see these things like, how do they get the building materials there to build these huge places out in the middle of nowhere, these islands and jungles and things, But I
giant laboratories. Yes. Well, there's a lot of sinister contractors out there too, right?
Probably is. Yeah.
There are. I guess you call the black market and order up some contractors.
Right. Well, here's part of the weirdness. This was before Pearl Harbor. So So it's a thinly veiled like anti-Nazi type of movie, but it's still veiled because it's before Pearl Harbor. And remember, there was most of the country did not want to get involved in World War II because we were still fatigued with World War I.
Yes.
And a lot of people do not. They all think we were like, we're the Americans.
Let's go.
Americans were like, fuck you. You guys deal with yourself until we got attacked. Now you've attacked us. Well,
we'll give you some planes and some ammunition, but we don't
quietly. We will. Yes.
Yeah.
No, we were not very cool back then. I mean, basically the Brits looked at us like, about time.
They're like,
So I mean, although history's kind
after London burned.
So history's kind of been kind to us a little bit about that.
Yes,
but
it has.
It did turn the tide a little bit, after we got in there.
And this has a little bit of military, like, aren't they? What are they searching for, Tim? And I found the one gentleman. What's that?
Yeah, I was a little foggy on that. By the time the plot got going, it had kind of slept by me a little bit. But I know there's another gentleman who had also crashed, who was a prisoner of Dr. Sangre, Dr. Miklos.
And he was a general, wasn't he, or something?
He was something, and they had to basically at least they rescued him, whether or not that's what they were going there for or not.
Yeah. And I mentioned the Bahamas in here. I swear they did. And I think is that the Bermuda Triangle around there somewhere?
Maybe. It's definitely an island. Definitely an island.
So maybe they were tickling that a little too. Right. I'm not sure.
I've been down those parts quite often, like Jamaica, Bahamas, and the Virgin Islands and stuff. Bermuda. And it's not quite that dreary. Just letting everybody know.
No, that's what I was. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like, this place must have been on the burnt side of wherever nice places were, because this place looks beat and dark and dreary. It looks like something out of a gothic, movie or some kind of.
It is a gothic movie. It's a gothic.
Yeah, totally. It's movie. But it doesn't seem like it. And I felt it didn't fit where it was supposed to be. I'm like, this place is awful looking. Man, I thought it was nice down there.
Right. It looks like you almost took the Bahamas and put them in Universal Horror Land.
Exactly.
Northeastern, Western, Euro, Asia.
That's what I was trying to hit on. Yeah.
So the story literally has more to do with the fact that
it's more about a lot of hypnotism, because the main gentleman who owns the castle.
Well, he doesn't get found out. And these guys are crashing his party. You know?
So his wife's hypnotized.
Yeah.
Remember, he has her that was a strange introduction to her, man. Like, whoa.
Right. So so he's definitely pulling the strings everywhere around that place. So
there's secret passages in that place.
Right. And so the two main white guys are basically kind of getting fooled by the evil German white guy. And Montana Moreland, as I have said over and over and over again, with these kinds of movies that are considered racist, I don't disagree on some level that they're inappropriate. But when you actually watch the movie, the only smart motherfuckers in the movie are the guys like Montana Moreland, who know exactly what's going on and nobody believes them.
Or the country bumpkins and stuff. Yeah, it's
so I look at this from a 1941 point of view, where I'm seeing it as Montana looked at the script and said, okay, the dumb white dudes don't believe me, but I'm right. And they don't believe me for stupid reasons because I'm just the black valet.
Yeah.
And they're wrong. And so what the movie was showing was that he was correct. They should have listened to him in the first place. In 1941, that was ultra left-wing liberal thought.
Yes.
So you have to kind of think that things don't happen overnight. They're stepping stones. But I still look at this and I'm glad that I'm glad that we've moved forward.
We're not there.
Yes, very glad. And Montana's humor,
and we haven't been for a long time. It really,
But Montana's humor is it's hilarious if you can stomach it. If you're not overly sensitive to some of the black jokes and stuff, he's making them. Nobody really nobody's extra mean to Montana because of that.
No,
they're not listening to him. They're a little dismissive.
He acts like one of those zombies at one point. Well, he does get hypnoptized, but then he's still good in it, though. I mean,
sauce. Zombies don't get sauce in their food.
Yeah,
but it's not. If you look at the characters in this movie, I don't find that they are. I don't think they're. I think it just is what it is. The black people in the film are kind of like in the servants of the movie, but they're very nefarious. And they're very powerful, and they're really they're pretty spooky themselves. Montana is a comic relief. That cackling old servant hag, man. Oh, is she a hoot?
When she first arrived on set, he goes, "What was that? What did he say? Was that Medusa?"
And when she talked, she sang when she talked, man. I was like, wow.
Was that Medusa? I had to rewind that. I said, did he say Medusa? Sure, no. That had me rolling, man. I was like, it was good. Yeah. And he was good, but I just think a lot of this, and I'm not going to dog on Abbott Costello Meets Frankenstein, because I think that has much more horror elements to it than this does.
Right.
This just did not have enough. You get some trap doors or secret doors, and the one lady coming through the passageway, but then it's broken up by Montana Moreland with a little more comic relief when she comes into the room, and it's just there wasn't enough spooky stuff. And then when it finally starts to ramp up towards the end, it's almost even more comical, man.
Right.
This whole thing they have at the end, the whole little it's not even a seance, it's a ritual that they're doing. It's just so silly, man. I don't know.
Well, it's definitely.
I found it much more of like a comedy.
It is. It is. And it's one of those movies where it's very Scooby-Doo-esque. It's another Scooby-Doo movie where it's like not really everything is quite supernatural.
Yeah.
Not everything is quite what it seems. The zombies aren't necessarily quite there. They're not quite the traditional, even voodoo zombies and stuff. But it does kind of devolve more and more into comedy. And I think that Montan it's his movie.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's not laugh out loud funny.
No, it's humorous.
Slap your
it's
your leg.
Right. And Montan's great in it. If you want to hang on that, fine. If you want to hang on the quality of the film, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not great. I mean, it's a programmer. It's a Monogram movie. It's a Poverty Row, kind of cookie cutter horror comedy from the time. Bela Lugosi starred in a lot of these with the East End kids, and they're the Dead End kids or Bowery Boys, whatever you call them. Those guys. Yeah. I mean, so it's just one of those movies, cheap 40s horror comedy.
For me, though, he did carry the movie. He really did. He did. He carried it, and I thought, for the most part, most of the acting and everything was pretty good. I just needed a little bit more. I mean, there's really not much suspense to it, really, but I can't poop on this by any means either, But I wish there was a little bit more. Maybe the I don't know. His thing is like, you always say, I hang on. Well, it was nicely shot. I don't even really think this was all that nicely shot. Mm-hmm. There could have been a lot more.
It's cookie cutter.
There's a part at the end, where the doctor falls into the fire or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's a part where he's like shooting at the zombies or shooting at Mr. Bill or whatever.
Right.
That had some suspense to it. It looked kind of creepy the way they were doing it. But
the zombies looked pretty. They looked pretty good.
Yeah,
they were.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was trying to look whether some of those people really had those pronounced brows or if those were little makeup or not. I couldn't tell right away. Yeah. But they did take some pretty. Not the most handsome people on the face of the earth, and they're big fellas,
tall dudes. Yeah,
those guys. Oh my goodness gracious, were the zombie guys? I mean, they were imposing for sure. I mean, I think definitely. Were they horrifying? No, they weren't horrifying, but they were imposing and creepy. You did not want to get into a scrape with one of them.
No,
I mean, they were big, and they were after Montan. I mean, they were straight up after him. So, and that's kind of the running joke of the movie is that he knows what's going on. They're hiding it from Dick Purcell and John Archer, basically, is what's happening. And then Joan Woodbury, I guess, is just there to be a damsel in distress. I don't know what she's even there for. She's just there to be there. They needed it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it a very mild Great Bay Pub because it's enjoyable. It's only like an hour and 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
It's always fun to watch Montan. There were moments where I was chuckling a little bit and smiling. But as a movie itself, it is humorous. It's okay, but it's just a very mild Great Bay Pup, a cookie cutter programmer from that era.
Yeah, I'm same thing. Kind of just a mild Great Bay Pup.
Yeah.
If Montan Moreland wouldn't have been in it, I'd be.
I agree.
He brought it. He brought it up. A notch or two.
Yeah, absolutely. This would not be worth watching. No, if it wasn't for Montan. So and you know what? I mean, what did they say? Montan saved more movies than the UCLA archive or something. And this is one of the movies he saved. He did. He saved it. And that's true. It's a funny joke to say he saved more movies than the Preservation Society at UCLA, but he did. He did. He saved a ton of shit on bad scripts. And he's doing some lines that, man, he probably wasn't happy doing.
No,
but he made the best out of it. Well, Mr. Ben Harley, let's see. Not exactly sure what we're doing next week, but it might have an uncanny resemblance to something that we have done before. So
that's right.
Until next week, all you deep thinkers, stay spooky, and we'll talk to you then.
Keep it creepy, people.
You've been listening to the Timo and Harley Show, brought to you by ScreenPrintingFactory.com, your affordable one-stop solution to all your screen printing needs.